Hi everyone, we'll wait for 3 more minutes. Until others join, it will be helpful for me if you all can introduce yourself to me. Once everyone join, I'll introduce myself and start the session. Uh, who is so at the same time, if you all can, if you all are in presentable form, you all can keep the video on, and while this is going on, you can keep your mics on off mode. If you're not comfortable, you can keep your video off. And could you please, at the beginning, could you please introduce yourself to me or your team? Upul Ranjan is from where? Mr. Upul?
So I'm from State Development and Construction Corporation.
You're from State Development and Construction. Okay. Okay, Mr. Upul. And okay, right. So who can introduce your organization to us? Then I can make it more relevant to your industry. Ms. Samar Singh, Mr. Samar Singh.
Can you hear me?
Hello, Ms. Samar Singh. You are not audible, Ms. Samar Singh.
Sir, can you hear me? Sir, can you hear me?
Yes, Mr. Samar Singh. You're from which industry? What's your organization?
I'm from state sector. I'm from Sri Lanka.
You're from Sri Lanka. Okay. You all, you all very good at always you all train, no? Your officers. You are in
No, sir, I'm a civil engineer. I'm from civil engineering branch.
You are in civil engineering. Okay. Lot of your officers learned with us when we were doing NIBM diploma during the battle time. Group Captain Malinda Pereira and I think Group Captain I can't recall all names, but a lot of your people were in our batch when you're doing NIBM's National Quality Diploma.
Yes.
So, okay, and your rank is wing command. What is your rank, Mr. Samsing?
Sir, I'm Air Vice Marshal.
Yeah, Vice Marshal. Okay, sorry. I called you as Air Vice Marshal. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Vice Marshal Samsing. And Ms. Sakuntala, what is your position and organization?
I'm civil engineer, Sri Lanka Land Development Corporation.
Okay, you're a civil engineer. Okay. And yeah, you all can keep introducing yourself until all are joining. Sir Ratnayaka?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, Mr. Ratnayaka.
I am.
What is your organization?
I am Oak Integrated System Private Limited. It is a SIM, Service Integrator to the IT.
It's a system
it is
integration.
IT.
Okay. You all do system integration. Okay. Right. I have worked. Millennium IT is my client. Millennium IT, Sri Lanka Telecom Services. I think you all are similar to that, no?
Yeah, yes, sir.
We have implemented ISO standards for Millennium IT ESP and Sri Lanka Telecom Services. Okay, nice to meet you.
Okay.
And Ms. Nimali, what are the, that's a different industry, systems integration. So you have your servers and you have your IT hardware and software, so on. And who else? Who else from different industries?
Good morning, sir.
Nimali was, Ms.
Yes,
Nimali was.
yes. I am a facility manager at Sri Lanka Land Development Corporation.
Oh, you are a Moratorium graduate.
Yes. First batch actually.
Can you recall me?
Yes, of course.
Okay, nice to
We
meet
had the
you.
series of lectures those days. Thank you, sir. Okay.
From 2009, no? I think you joined. I started
2000,
lectures from 2008,
yes,
I think. Yes,
during our third year.
during your third year. Right. You are Damita and Asail's batch, no?
Yes,
Asail Suri. Okay.
Surige.
Suri. Right. Who else? Who are you all can come up with different industries? Other industries we discuss, so we can make it more kind of interactive to. We can make it more interactive as well as we can make it more interesting to all the industries. I think it's okay. Miss
Yagel, sir.
Yes, Miss. You are from which industry?
I'm from health. I'm working in a health project, ADB funded.
Okay, health project in the sense medical equipment.
Yes, lot of procurement happening.
Right. Okay. Okay. We have implemented systems of Technomedics, one of the largest medical equipment supplier in Sri Lanka. Medical.
Yes,
system.
we have a lot of tenders going. So we have suppliers. One of the suppliers, Technomedics.
Technomedics, right?
Yes.
Technomedics is one of my very old clients.
Okay, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Agil. And okay, I think we'll start. But if you all can, anytime you can stop me, and if you feel it's not very specific to your industry, if you want any explanations, please let me know. I'm very pleased to tell you whatever I know. And I'm not an academic, but I'm a master's graduate from University of Colombo. But I'm not an academic. I worked for the industry for about 28 years. Almost 28 years I worked for the industry. I worked 5 years for Japanese Toyota's vendors. We were manufacturing igniters, fire bags, we were manufacturing temperature fusers, and thermal cutoffs, and so on. And mainly electronic and electrical automobile safety devices manufacturing. And I have served more than 400 organizations, including military Sri Lankan Army, and in multiple countries in Bangladesh, Kenya, Thailand, Sri Lanka, and most of Sri Lankan companies in multiple industries like telecom, telecommunication, IT, construction, manufacturing, service industry, banks, multiple industries we have served in implementing process improvement systems, Japanese standards, as well as ISO standards and European standards. So I will when I given this presentation now, so I will align more into practical aspects. The theories you can learn from YouTube or wherever. So whatever my experience I try to share is where I go through to make it more interesting. And that can be sometimes there can be power cuts. I have backup, but you have to kindly excuse me in such case to change to backup power. Okay. So I'm Kanishka Pereira. My organization I'm working is Kaisha Kaizen Consultancy. So, what supply chain? Our topic today is supply chain and inventory management. What is supply chain? If I ask you a question, where are the strengths of a chain? So each component of a chain are equally important. Am I correct? When you take a screen, sorry, when you take a chain, each component of a chain has equal importance. Am I correct? Because chain strength is decided by the strength of every component, every small component of chain. So one component is weak. So all are made out of solid iron. One is made out of plastic. There you break your chain. Similarly, supply chain. The subject. Supply chain is a system. System means what are the systems? You know, we have in our body we have a respiratory system. We have we have a food digestive system. We have blood circulation system. We all these systems get together. Sorry, all those we have process of respiration. I'm very sorry, not system. We have process of respiration. We have process of blood circulation. We have process of the food digestion, and all those processes get together and make a system. The system is a human body. If one system fails, the human body starts to give symptoms of sicknesses. So similarly, supply chain also is a system, includes people, activities, information and resources. Set of activities includes processes. So processes are made out of set of activities, and all those things are moving a product or service from supplier. There are two important interested parties here. There are two key stakeholders: supplier and customer. That is, supplier to customer. You can call supplier as vendor or whatever. So supplier to customer. So supply chain activities transform raw materials and components into finished product, that is delivered finished product or finished service to that is delivered to the end customer. So since you are not from single industry, so I thought you all are from construction and building, engineering related industries. So since you all are from multiple disciplines, I'll also try to make it more relevant to multiple disciplines. And supply chain, if you look at, there is a supplier here. All these three are suppliers. Suppliers supply raw material. These are raw material supplies. Raw material suppliers supply the raw materials to, they extract raw materials from various sources. Most of sources are natural sources, and they extract raw materials, and then it goes to manufacturer. Then once it is manufactured, you go to distributor. Then it goes to the retailer. sometimes it is construction site. Finally, end product can be, if it is an electronic e-commerce customer, he will order goods online. It is a supermarket. The retailer can be supermarket. And at the same time, this is a construction site close to the as the finished built in on. So if you look at this example, how supply chain management became very interesting after this Second World War. Globalization started. Because of globalization, now countries who are you getting any disturbance from my end? Are you getting any disturbance from my end? I'm audible, no? Okay, thank you. Okay, so when the globalization started, the world opened the doors for the international trade. So as a result, now let's say an apparel or garment is made in Sri Lanka. So how it is done? So maybe I don't know whether any fabric or thin is available in Sri Lanka. So maybe sometimes fabric are being manufactured here, but yarn will be imported. So then, if you take this winter jacket, this fur for the upper part is imported from Thailand. So China manufactures as the cotton manufacturer, China manufactures the inner cotton layer. And Japan is the globally biggest supplier of zippers. They manufacture the zipper here. Germany, they manufacture the snaps buttons. Taiwan, they manufacture the specialized vinyl material which is in the outer layer. So that is assembled as a finished product. That is going to be assembled as a finished product and complete the finished winter jacket, finished apparel in Sri Lanka. But do you think all these supplies, all these manufacturers, how do you call it? You call it lead time. Do you think all these manufacturers' lead time is the same? No. They have different processes, different ways of extracting raw materials, different ways of adding value. So because of that, as a result, lead times are not equal. Lead times may vary. Lead times may be vary. Sorry. Due to their own ways of manufacturing or due to their own ways of value addition. But our challenge is to make all lead times align to our outcome. So I'll tell you a small parable. In 2019, just before COVID-19 started, I got an opportunity to take a Sri Lankan team of people to Thailand's Toyota factory to train on Toyota production system. That factory we visited were manufacturing Toyota Hilux double cab and Toyota Fortuner SUV. So I came to know they told us, they took us for a factory tour. They told us our task time, TAKT. Our task time. How many of you all know this? Our task time for Toyota Hilux 58 minutes. start time for Toyota Fortuner start time was, as I can recall, start time for Toyota Fortuner was 76 minutes. Start time for Toyota Hilux was 58 minutes, as I can remember. So, what do you mean by talk time? The talk mean is a German term. Talk is a German term. The meaning of talk time is the drumbeat of production and supply. I will repeat it. The drumbeat of production and supply. Talk time. So then the meaning is every 58 minutes, this world has a demand for Toyota Hilux double cab. Every 58 minutes, someone goes to a Toyota outlet and buys a Toyota Hilux double cab. So because of that, but somehow they should manufacture and supply. They should manufacture and supply a Toyota Hilux double cab within every 58 minutes. And do you know, if you take a motor vehicle, since I used to work for automobile industry, every basic motor vehicle has more than 30,000, 40,000 components in it. In the motor vehicle, you get 30 to 40,000 components inside the motor vehicle. All these components are manufactured in 30 to 40,000 different manufacturing entities. But they all are synchronized to this speed. So this is the perfect situation of this is a perfect situation of supply chain management. So they exactly know. If you take Japan, they have very few big organizations like Toyota, Mitsubishi, Nissan, and so on. Most of organizations, most of industries are component manufacturers. I used to work for a component manufacturer, and most of industries are focused to component manufacturing. But all are working in the same rhythm. All have talk times. All knows the drumbeat of production. I think you understood. So this is why supply chain management is so important. In Sri Lanka, we can see it in apparel industry because apparel is the only industry which is developed in Sri Lanka to the global level. Other industry there can be isolated one or two companies, but as an industry, Sri Lanka's the most developed industry, apparel industry. They all maintain all these start times, lead times, the supply chain goal setting. All those are there with apparel and main apparel industry, main apparel companies. Okay, so I think you got a small insight about this. So these are construction related supply chains. All the supply chain has sourcing area, supply material extraction locations, and initial primary production, then warehousing, then you get secondary production, and again warehousing, distribution, retailing, or wholesaling. Finally, it comes to the hand of the final goods or services manufacturer. So supply chain management is the design and management of processes across organizational boundaries, with the goal of matching supply and demand in the most cost-effective way. Supply chain management is the design and management of processes across organizational boundaries with the goal of matching supply and demand with most cost effective. So it has to be cost effective also, but it should meet all the primary quality requirements. So, really speaking, you have to seek better, faster, and cheaper supply chain management solution. So goods or services which are being procured has to be better, means meeting specifications, meeting purchase order requirements. Faster means meeting the delivery terms, delivery speed of delivery, demanded lead times, order to stock lead time. Once you place the order, how long it comes to receive the ordered items to our warehouse. Order to stock lead time is there. Order to dock lead time can be how long the order takes to come to Colombo port. Dock to stock lead time means how fast the stocks can be cleared from port and brought to and transported to the warehouse and entered to the stock. Until the stock is updated, the production cannot be started. So all these things are inside supply chain management. So there are, as I told, there are supply and demand borders in between raw material supply to initial manufacturer, between the retailer and manufacturer, all those places. There are supply demand boundaries. Managing the interfaces of those boundaries is the main part of supply chain management. Mission Impossible is matching the supply and demand. We have Mission Impossible, that is matching the supply and demand. Okay. So I told it's a process. Supply chain management is a process. I told in our human body there are processes like blood circulation process, respiration process, food digestion process. We have processes in our human body. So what do you mean by a process? Process is a set of activities. White screen. Okay, process is a set of interactive and interconnected activities. If you say since we are in supply chain, generally in a logistic company, so generally in a logistic company, let's say warehousing service provider, what are the key processes in a warehousing service provider? First process is ordering, right? Second process can be inbounds. Inbounds means receiving materials or receiving goods, right? Then third process is put away, right? Put away means what? Put away means whatever the material, whatever the goods you receive, if they are meeting the requirements of purchase order, those goods are put away to the racks, to the right location, right warehouse location. So that is called the put away process. What is the next process? There's another process of replenishment. So why the replenishments are there? When you put to the warehouse racks, so always for the efficiency, you need to keep fast moving items closer to the door. Issuing items, mainly the issuing items, you have to keep in the lower racks. If it's a warehouse, if it is a heavy and issuing items, should be in lower racks. And when you are receiving bulk items, you put into the higher racks. At time to time, when the lower racks are empty, you have to keep replenishing. Otherwise, the process will get delayed. So replenishment. So what you do next thing? Then you have what? Outbounds, right? You are issuing products out. You are sending product. You have outbounds, right? You order inbound, put away, replenishment, outbounds. Then what else? You have, depending on the industry, you have several others like handling returns or whatever. Depending on the industry, there will be added. So logistic management, if I'm not mistaken, there is a military officer in this platform. He can, please correct me if I'm wrong. As I have learned, in a battle, in a battle, infantry to logistic ratio is 1 to 13 or 1 to 14. That means if one soldier is fighting in the battlefield, there should be people who are supplying ammunition to them. There should be people who are supplying food and clothing to them. There should be people who are supplying, supply spares for their equipment repairs, maintenance. There should be people to carry them when they are sick, when they are casualties. Likewise, you need 14 people to keep one person fighting in the battlefield, one infant in the battlefield. So logistic to actually this logistic management field, if you want to read a book, the best book, one of the best books is called Art of War. Art of War. That was written by Sun Tzu. It was a very old book, I think, more than 2000 years old. That was that has been taken to businesses and various military things and all. Art of War. Art of War. That was a small story about that was a small story written on bamboo sticks. So, Chinese people write on bamboo sticks. So written on certain number of bamboo sticks. That entire story was elaborated and made a very beautiful book. And you have YouTube videos also. You can watch that video. In China there were several dynasties of kings. So one of the small area was ruled by a king with 20,000 army, as I can recall. There was another king who was very arrogant. He had 200,000 army. So the 200,000 army, king with the 200,000 army challenged the king with a small army. But that king had a advisor called Sun Tzu. So he taught the king. He assisted the king to confront and defeat that 200,000 army with the 20,000 army. So Art of War. So that book is very good for logistic management. Yeah, that's what since it came to my mind, I told you. So again, coming back, we are looking at the processes in a warehouse. These are the processes in a warehouse. Ordering, inbound. Okay. If you say inbound process, if you take inbound process, we'll take inbound process. Take inbound process. I'm teaching you the process thinking, how the process should be. The thinking of a process, we call it explicit process thinking. This is the explicit way of process thinking. This is the explicit way of process thinking. So inbound process is our subject. So inbound process, this parable is used to explain the process. You call it turtle diagram. So if you take a turtle, you know turtles. You take a turtle, turtle has a tail. Turtle has a tail, head, and 4 legs, right? Turtle has 4 legs, tail, and head. So this is inbound process. So inside a process, there are several activities. Now, inbound process. A turtle has eyes. Turtle has eyes and mouth. Where the turtle, what is the direction turtle is going to move? What is the direction of a turtle's movement? If you look at a turtle always moves to the direction where the eyes are. Turtle has 2 eyes on his head. The turtle is going to move towards the direction. That means if the process, there is a process, there should be a decision-making part of that process. How do you make that decision based on what? You have a customer, right? Every process has a customer. Sometimes customer can be external client. Sometimes customer can be an internal customer. Okay. Customer can be internal customer. So internal customer gives the inputs. How do you call it? Input. VOC. VOC stands for voice of customer. Internal customer gives this voice of customer. So when inbound process, in the inbound process, what is the voice of customer? It can be there can be information coming from the customer, whoever. Let's say we're handling somebody else's goods, we stock somebody else's goods or our own organization's goods. Whoever, the internal customer will tell you the schedule of receipts. Schedule of inbound. Internal customer will give you the schedule of inbound. So internal customer sends the schedule of inbounds. According to that schedule, we receive items. We don't accept any item out of the schedule. Okay. So at the same time, what else we receive? What else we receive? We will receive specifications. We receive material specifications, which may be reflected in maybe in POs or debit notes or whatever material specifications we will receive. So once you receive it, what's to be done? Now turtle has the head. What is the tail of the turtle? What is the outcome? Inbound processes outcome. It's marshaled items, no? Items conforming to specs. Marshal means items which are kept in order on pallets or whatever. which are like in a military, you say marshal means you go in a parade, no, in one set. So like marshaled items or placed items, which are conforming to specification. So items which are not conforming to specification will not be arranged. So balance, what happens? Balance items will be returned to the supplier according to voice of customer. Supplier sends the goods. Even supply can be internal supply in your organization. If you have several manufacturing units, internal supply can be a internal supplier can be your own organization. But you have internal, definitely you need to have every process, you need to have a internal customer and internal supplier. So inside the turtle's belly, there are eggs. Generally, if you take a turtle, you get eggs inside the belly. So this is the belly of turtle. You have eggs. These eggs can be seen as are similar to activities. So inside the process, there are several activities. One activity here can be, one of the activities here can be inbound inspection. Inbound inspection can be one of the activities. Okay. To see whether the quality and quantity requirements are being met. So if you do such any quality verification, if you verify the product quality, whatever you call it, controls. So every process has controls. Every process has controls. There can be controls everywhere. If we have a control, to control the product, it is tangible. We call them quality control. To control the product characteristics, we call it quality control. If you have controls to control this entire process, I would say, now you have a control. Now your inbounds are perishable inbounds, or your inbounds has to be maintained in a certain temperature level. So inbound lorries are freezer trucks. Inbound transportation lorries are freezer trucks. So in order to control that inbound process, the temperature control is required. If you are controlling the processor's quality somewhere, you call it quality assurance. These are the terminology. Quality assurance. Quality assurance means wherever you control the quality of the process, we call it quality assurance. If you control the quality of the product, which is tangible, you call it quality control. So quality assurance and quality control. So every process has, like turtles, one leg is controls. Turtles has another leg called documented information. Turtle has another leg called documented information. You follow what I say? Inbound process. Documented information. What are the documented information we have in such a process? What are the documented information we have? We have policies, procedures, working instructions, forms, registers, and records. So policies, procedures, sometimes working instructions or methods, method statements or methods, and forms, registers, ERPs, e-forms. So whatever these data capturing templates, finally records. Records are the documents we keep all the evidences for future reference. So once you sign a document by the responsible person, that becomes a record. You have to retain that as a record. Okay. So then policies means what? Policies means what to do. Policies means what to do. Procedures means what? Procedures means how to do. So one of the legs of turtle is documented information. You have all this documented information required for the process to run. You need controls for a process to run. So we are looking at inbound inspection activities. So there are policies. There can be a policy, inbound policy of the organization, which is given by the top management as a decree by the board of directors. But there are several procedures to achieve that policy. Procedure for incoming inspection, procedure for in-process inspection. Give me a second, I'm very sorry. Very sorry. So procedure for we were referring to policies, procedures, working instructions, mainly the documented information of every process has documented information to run. So if it is inbound process, there are procedures how to do inbound inspection. There can be a working instruction which is pasted on the warehouse docking station. There can be working instruction for the workers, lower level workers, how to handle the goods without damaging. The basic requirements, how to read the storage instructions, how to handling instructions printed on the corrugated boxes. So likewise, there can be workings. There are forms. So once the records are made, that means what is the record we raise? What is the main record we raise here? GRN, right? Goods received notes, GRN. And goods, one is goods received note, one is goods return note. GRN, generally GRN is called good received note. If it is a good return note, you write as good return note. Or it can be a debit note. If it is within the same organization, goods have been transferred to departments, there will be a debit note. So whatever, the documented information records has to be maintained. Sometimes records are maintained in soft mode. If it is a small company, you can maintain in hard mode also. So third leg of the turtle, this is called the turtle diagram. If you read it, if you go to internet and see turtle diagram for process management, there are several illustrations. You can go and see that. So third leg of the process management, we have taken only one process here. Similarly, other processes also have similar turtles. Okay. Then what do you call this? Third leg of the turtle is resources. Even for a process to run, you need to have resources. What are the resources? You need to have men. You need to have people to run this process. You need to have materials. You may need some materials to run any process. Materials can be paper, can be materials can be paper or whatever. So you have material handling equipment like forklifters and all. You need fuel for them. Okay. And you have measuring equipment. The materials and energy. Okay. You need the right environment for that. You cannot do this operation in a rainy day without a proper rain water cover and all. So you need the resources. So every process needs resources. Finally, every process should have, this is the most important part, every process should have measures. These measures can be reflected of the process owner. I have forgotten to tell you, every process needed one or few process owners. If you have one owner, it will be very effective, but he will be accountable for entire process owner. When you say measures, these measures, some of the measures will be reflected as the key performance indicators of the owner. Some of them can be key risk indicator of the owner. There are two measures. One is two types of measures. One is key performance indicators. The other one is key risk indicators. You can see risk performance indicators. Key risk performance indicators. That means what? Key risk performance indicators. So key performance indicators, key risk performance indicators. Who gives this? Who gives this to the process owner? Who sets the process owner? So let's say what is a key performance indicator of this process? Inbound process. What is the KPI of inbound process? Let's think of a KPI for inbound process. KPI process, key risk indicator for inbound process. You can say lead time, dock to stop. Lead time, dock to stop. If this process is done with the right speed, in a very short time, you can inspect the inbound items and put away them to the racks and update the stock. That is called one of the key performance indicators can be lead time dock to stock. Okay. One of the risk performance indicators can be, so when the inbound style, there is an in-transit risk. One of the risk performance indicators can be your performance indicators set to reduce the probability of a risk of handling damages or transporter roadside accidents. So let's say one of the risk performance indicator can be converting all transporters A grade. Converting all transporters to A grade can be a risk performance indicator. So from where we got these key performance indicators and risk performance indicators? From our corporate plan. Our corporate plan, I'm just showing you the big picture of this. From our corporate plan only we got it. Corporate plan, corporate strategy. So if you are in an organization, you have top management, you have your middle management, and you have front line managers. Finally, you have your frontline managers. Finally, you have your managerial employees. This is the structure of organization, right? You have top management, middle management, frontline management, and non-managerial workers. Your top management sets the strategy, corporate plan, corporate strategy 2020. 2024 can be set already for your organization. So according to that corporate strategy, middle management will be deployed. Head of logistics will be deployed as supply chain and logistics strategy. And HR manager, middle management will get human resource strategy or hiring strategy. So likewise, all these top management, middle management sets it. For the frontline managers, it is set. Let's say we have a middle management logistic managers strategy for continuous supply chain continuity. So that can be deployed as a key performance indicator to the owner of this particular process, supply chain process owner. So that's how this is in Japanese. This is called Hoshin Kanji. Hoshin Kanji. You know, in Kanji means management in Japanese language. Hoshin means the compass needle. Before the GPS came, the ships were directed to their destination using compass needles in the ancient time. So, in order to direct our organization to the right direction, you need a compass needle. So, that is the compass needle of this. So, the measures of this, finally, all these measures are going to be displayed to top management like a cockpit chart in your cockpit. If you have seen the cockpit of aircraft, Airbus A340 cockpit, there are two main seats. So once you're seated comfortably, you can see all the meters, no, all the gauges on the dashboard. So these measures are those meters in the dashboard, which can give us an insight, give us an indicator whether we are going to crash or not. So then supply chain has to be treated as a supply chain, and warehousing has to be treated with the process approach. I think it's clear to you about the process approach. No? So this is the way the processes has to be designed. Can I get any idea from you? Is it clear to you? Is it boring or? Is it boring to, I mean, can someone ask any question? Or you understood whether?
Excuse me, sir. What is the marshaled items? That means the finished products according to the
Yeah.
VOC?
Yeah, marshalling means it's a warehousing term. Marshalling means keeping items in a order, like in a military. Marshalling means when you're going for a parade, soldiers are marshaled to one direction. I mean, soldiers are they keep in same distance in between them, and their formation. Marshalling means the formation of goods. I mean, keep the goods in warehouse in a in a kind of a rectangular formation or whatever. Marshalling means I just, you can say the meaning of marshalling is placing in the right order. That's a term used by logistics management, marshalling. The term. Have I answered your? That's fine.
Yes,
You
sir.
understood.
Okay. Yeah, okay, sir. I got it.
Marshalling. यार අපි කියන්නේ ආමි के marshalling කියන්නේ ඔක්කොම soldiers ලා failure එකකින් not කියන්නේ marshalling කියන්නේ. Similarly, the goods are being placed in a proper order, proper direction. They are waiting to put away. The items are, samples are checked, inbound consignment samples are verified, the product specifications are met, the quantity is verified. Now they are waiting to put away. I mean, waiting to dispatch to the Rex. Okay. So this is kind of a one process. Similarly, you can discuss. I'm not an expert of logistics, but I have seen how our clients conduct it, and all these can be treated as processes and set. Final objective is to set a cockpit chart. In the cockpit chart, one of the meters are going to be one of your key performance indicator or key risk indicator. Clear, no? The same thing is here. Same thing is here. The same is in your presentation also. I'll share this presentation with you. Certainly it's not there, but similar things are there. Control is there, resources are there, input, output, input wise of customer. So this is the process one. So you have to now think. You have to now think. You need to have process thinking. When you handle this subject, you need to see this subject, this entire logistics and warehousing, inventory control, logistic function includes number of processes. So once you manage all processes correctly, the logistic function is being managed. So these are further details of process management. We discuss all these things. What are the outputs? What are the results? The supply chain management is the design and management of processes across organizational boundaries with the goal of matching supply and demand. So, keyword here is goal of matching supply and demand. Goal of matching supply and demand. So when you set your meters dashboard, cockpit dashboard, you need to think of your KPI. Sorry, when you set your KPIs, you think of this goal of matching supply and demand. Okay. Why it is so difficult to match the supply and demand? Uncertainty in demand and supply. Always there's uncertainty. Always there's uncertainty. So how the uncertainty can happen? There are internal factors, there are external factors. There are interested parties. What are those internal factors? External factors can be explained as external. And internal factors can be explained as CVCV. At the same time, there are needs and expectations of interested parties. There are needs and expectations of interested parties. Who are the interested parties? Directors, managers, workers, suppliers, service providers. Who else? Regulators, there is a participation from medical equipment industry here. Regulators are what is the main regulator? Authority of Drugs Authority. Can that means I have forgotten the name. Like Food and Drug Authority. There's a authority called here for medical devices. There's authority.
NMRA, sir.
NMRA. Thank you very much. Sorry. NMRA. NMRA is the regulator. If it is a telecommunication related construction, Telecommunication Regulatory Commission is the authority. If you import any, if you have a supply chain of refrigerants, air conditioning related matters, Central Environmental Authority. If you have any supply chain of pesticides, Register of Pesticides, there are regulators of those interested parties. Who else? What are the interested parties? Customs, Inland Revenue Department. There are several interested parties, right? So not only you need to meet PESTEL and CVCV, needs and expectations of interested parties are also really, really important. I think you all know about PESTEL and CVCV. For the people who are not aware of this, I will again PESTEL means that there can be political issues which we cannot control. There can be economic crisis. You know, we are facing in Sri Lanka. No? Economic. There can be socio cultural. There can be socio-cultural issues which can impact the. There can be socio-cultural issues which can impact the supply chain. Sometimes some ethnic groups or some religious groups will not eat certain, will not be happy to touch certain types of food or certain types of goods. They won't be, you may be seeing liquor and all. Some religious communities will not be happy to handle such supplies if it is alcohol or something. No? Like, similarly, there are social cultural issues. There are technological issues. No? Sometimes we have a very well done enterprise resource planning, material requirement planning, but our suppliers are not geared to that level. They may be having lack of using lack of technology. There can be ecological factors like flooding, heat wave, or bushfire, or there can be ecological factors which may disturb the supply chain. Sometimes there can be favorable, it can operate favorable way. Sometimes it can be a non-favorable way. So if it is favorable, we call it opportunity. If it is non-favorable, we call it a risk. If there are, at the same time, there are legal requirements for the supply chain. When you say legal, there are several legal requirements. Mainly, when you say legal, you get legal, you get parliamentary acts, British Queen's ordinances. What else? Regulations by respective minister or the authority. Then UN resolutions like Montreal Protocol, Kyoto Protocol. There are UN protocols which we have signed. Because of Montreal Protocol, we can't import every refrigerant gas except it is ozone friendly. Finally, contractual agreements with customers and vendors both. So all these are political crystal. And if I explain CVCV are internal factors, your internal competencies. If you have a very well done, ERP, you are so competent. If your employees are well educated and well trained for your operation, organization is more competent organization. Values. There can be value called, your organization can have value called integrity. So we maintain our integrity. We never undervalue goods when we import. So because you don't undervalue, there can be sometimes non-favorable thing to your organization. Because your competitor undervalues goods and brings, but because of your integrity, you don't do it. You don't pay bribe So there can be disturbances if you don't pay bribe. Sometimes there can be disturbances to supply chain. So you don't bribe anyone. So that can be an advantage, but that can be a disadvantage in another way. So, and CVC values culture of the organization. If our culture is well-disciplined culture, or let's say our culture, we all wear safety gear, safety boots, safety helmets, and very less accidents as a result. If you are not, if you don't have a culture of such, there can be accidents as a result of there can be disturbances in the supply chain. There can be disturbances to the supply chain. And finally, company's vision and mission. Company's vision and mission given by top management. So based on that vision and mission, our corporate goals are set. Then our corporate goals are cascaded downwards as tactical goals. Tactical goals are coming down as key objectives, key performance indicators, and key risk performance indicators. So that is a vision and mission and deployment of Hoshin country of that, call it Hoshin country Japanese. Deployment of vision, mission, and goals. So once you take all these things, now you have to compare this picture with all these things. Why it is so difficult to match the supply and demand? One is uncertainty. So uncertainty creates in all those areas. Changing customer requirements. Customers also change. Customer needs and expectations. So here main interested party we could write. Main interested party is customer. Sorry. Uncertain demand is changing customer requirements. So if customers change their requirements time to time, if we have not, if you are not keen in listening to voice of customer, if you are not keen in listening to voice of customer, you'll be having a you'll be not be matching with the requirements, and you will lose the customer. Maybe sometimes you'll be out of the business, and decrease in product life cycle. So the decrease in product life cycle means if you look at you know the Ford story. A Ford chairman is the one who introduced the first production line type production. Generally, production line all apparel, when the apparel industry was started in Sri Lanka, the industry even in other countries, if you manufacture a shirt or apparel outfit, the practice they had was the fabric and the trims, the buttons and all are given to one sewing machine operator. That person cuts it and he makes it, he sews it and he finishes it. Then one shirt is finished. Likewise, all operators finish shirt by shirt, they do. But the line type production, so that was earlier in the world, the vehicle manufacturing was done in that way. But the line type production was introduced by Sir Henry Ford, the owner of the late owner of the Ford company, and he came up with the idea of line type production. Line type production means at one place the fabrics are cut, at one place the pocket sewing is done at one place, back sewing is done in one place, At the end of the pipe, there will be a place to assemble all the pieces. So then that is called the line type production. So then controlling the speeds, controlling of the line speed is very easy in this way. So then as a result, after Ford Chairman's idea, ordinary common man was able to use a vehicle. So at that time, the Ford Chairman wanted to make an excellent quality product which lasts for the generation. If you look at a Morris Minor, the old car, those cars last for generations. Now, when Japanese people came to market, they realized that people have changing needs. Today's need, they don't keep every day. Tomorrow, they will have a changing needs. In order to cater that change in needs, Japanese people, although their product was not so sound like Ford product at that time, Japanese people started competing by meeting all customers' changing needs. So that's why they conduct all free Toyota service campaign, free Nissan service campaign, all Sahara Rally, Mitsubishi. They conduct those things. They learn how they learn the product's performance. But in a very short life cycle. Next year, new model comes. If you look at Apple iPhones, how many models have come? Now, those days, one iPhone to iPhone 4, iPhone 4 to 5 came with a big distance, big gap. But now the later new versions are coming, almost about 3-4 versions are coming in a year. So decreasing product life cycle is there. And because of that, you need to have a very short life cycle. So supply has to wait till next month that particular product is no more in the market, that is declined in the price tag. Okay. So fragmentation of supply chain ownership also sometimes issue. Sometimes some big players, they get the ownership of some of the, in Sri Lanka also, some industries. But the big players, some industries, they have taken the control of most of the small timers, and that has been created like a monopolistic situation in some of the industries. So that is also a problem, fragmentation of supply chain for ownership. Conflicting business objectives in global supply chain. We have a global supply chain. Now, there are objectives of global supply chain demands. Now, let's say Lafarge and Holcim, they were merged to use both. Those are two giant cement manufacturing companies, who even people who built the Suez Canal also. Lafarge is the one who built the Suez Canal with their cement. And very large scale cement manufacturing companies, they all got together. And went for a merger to deal with availability of raw materials. Cement needs certain raw materials to manufacture. With one raw material, I mean, you can't depend on one source. You need to depend on several sources, because it's clear. So can you see these parables? Marketing says, okay. Marketing sales wants more finished good inventory, more finished goods in inventory, fast delivery, many package types, special wishes, promotions. That can be marketing sales. Production wants bigger batch size because when the batch is smaller, several documentation to be done, it's a waste to the production. So likewise, there can be conflicts of departments amongst customer and supplier also. Inside a single firm also there are different conflict of objectives. Outside also there are conflicts of objectives. Okay. So these are the reasons why it's difficult to match the supply chain demand and supply. Can we have a short break and come back within 5 minutes? It's all right. Now the time is 11:56. We can come back around 12:01.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
Thank you. I had a stressful week. Yes. Are you ready? You know, shall I start? You can ask any question until they come, until all are ready. But anyone has a question, I can ask if you have any question. So, you can see my screen. Okay, you can see my screen. 10 ways to improve 10 ways to improve supply chain efficiency. One is customer relationship management. It's a vast subject, but customer relationship management has several drivers. One is monitoring customer grievances, customer customer relationship management, mainly with customer, in customer of the process, maybe the client, in customer, client. To have a very good communication system in the throughout the process of supply chain of the customer grievances. When customers grieve, my products are damaged while handling, my goods are damaged while handling. The numbers are not matching the some there were some thefts happened. Some goods were damaged. Some goods are not handled as per the handling instructions. So those are not timely delivered to the customer. So whatever the grievances of end customer will be like diamonds if you seek any improvement in customer relationship management. So you want to be in business and as in customer, I told you the Ford story. A Ford chairman he made the best machine in 1921. He said, my original Ford, my cars are originally in black color. They were premium. Ford was a very sound car in technology. Compared to Japanese vehicle, it was very technology. It was very sound. It was superior to Japanese vehicles. Now we all know Toyota is the world's best car company. It was not. It was not started in one day. It was not started in one day. 1931, Toyota factory manager, Mr. Taichi Ohno. Name is Mr. Taichi Ohno. He said, I'm going to make Toyota the best car company in the world. But I'm going to forget about my product. And I'm going to be very much worried about my process quality, my employee engagement quality, my leadership quality, and main thing, my customer relationship management quality. Toyota wanted to become the world's best car, not largest, best. This means most profitable car company in the world. One second. Very sorry. Customer. So Toyota's Mr. Taicho decided I'm going to be the best car company in the world, but they were not amongst the best 10 car companies at that time. But we decided one of the best, one of the main objectives he wanted to be met was to have quality customer relationship management. So, customer relationship management is how to manage your voice of customer, voice of your customer. Generally, what we see is, the iceberg theory and all. We do not have time to discuss all these things. You get a customer grievance, customer complaint. That is like the tip of the iceberg. So under that, in the iceberg, only 1/9 of above the water surface. 8/9 of the iceberg below the water surface. That means several customers who are dissatisfied, and few are complaining. One or two customers are complaining. Several customers are dissatisfied. So if you get a customer complaint, you all are really privileged people. Now, take this one is mainly end customer. You get end customers complaints, grievances, make a mechanism to communicate it throughout the supply chain. So the entire supply chain can be benefited of. So one is to respond to the customer immediately. You need to identify the root causes of that complaint. Customer never complains without the reason. You need to know the root causes of that complaint. Then you need to identify the root cause and eradicate the root cause. That is called the reactive way of customer relationship management. There is another proactive way of customer relationship management. Have you seen that when you go to some of the institutions, their outlets, sometimes you may be getting a text message. Are you satisfied with our service? If you are satisfied, you can state your level of satisfaction in a scale of 0 to 10. So then you may rate, my rate is 9. That is called proactive customer satisfaction market. Sometimes you may rate that my satisfaction level is 10. Someone will say my satisfaction level is 5. So this is called net promoter analysis. So net promoter analysis means the NPS score. Can you see my screen? and promoters group. Can you see my screen? Okay. So this is called net performance score, NPS score, and this is if you go to most of the mobile service providers and all, when you go there, you'll be getting a message. What is the rate you give? If you give the rate between 0 to 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you're called detractors. Detractors means you go outside and you keep complaining about this company to others, and you're not happy about this company number. You ask others also to stop buying from stop engaging with this organization. So they are called 1 to 6. If you are 7 to 8, your passives. Generally, lots of passives are there. Your passives, you are not exactly falling to both categories, so the detractors or the promoters. Promoters are 9 to 10. So on I'm talking of customer relationship management. Now, this is the proactive way of this is one of the examples of being proactive in customer relationship management. So if you say you are 9 or 10, you are a promoter, then customer service department should call you and ask why you are so happy about us. So whatever they learn, they can copy in a lessons learned log. You can maintain a lessons learned log. With that you can include your good comments there, customers' good comments there, and all the other divisions can follow the same thing. In order to maintain everyone in the supply chain sometimes can be benefited out of it. Passives, we can't do anything with them. Sometimes in countries like us, passives may be higher because for Sri Lankan hospitality, we will not tell anything to face. Whether we are satisfied or non-satisfied, will not to the face. So, but if it is detractors, you have to definitely call them. They are really grieved people, but they have no interest of complaining. They have no interest of complaining and developing an organization. They will simply go to another competitor and tell about 50 people not to buy from him. Then you have to call them and ask why you are so unhappy about us. Why you are so unhappy about us, and how can we help? How can we help you? They can ask. This is one way of being reactive customer relationship, proactive customer relationship management. So that's what the Japanese car manufacturers do. No? They have free service campaigns. They donate for rallies, rent for a challenge, all those things. They donate. They invest for marketing activities. All these things, what they do is to learn how their products are performing amongst what is the place their products have in customers' heart. What is the place they have in customers' heart? So that is called the proactive way of customer relationship management. We call it proactive, and they do campaigns. In that campaigns, they get customer satisfaction level. So that customer satisfaction level is escalated throughout the supply chain. So the Toyota's manufacturing plant is escalated. Then the manufacturing plant can use that as earned knowledge for the next production batch. I think you all follow. But I said, can you see my screen? Hope you all can see. Okay. And collaborative relationships. Sometimes customer, you can give, you can onboard your suppliers to your ERP, your enterprise resource planning. You can onboard your customers, your suppliers, and as a mutually beneficial collaborative relationship. So then they will see your demand. You can do this with old Kanban. Kanban is a Japanese mechanism. You can search for Kanban in the internet. Kanban, signal card method. The same Kanban is included in ERPs now. So in your ERP, you can see that in your ERP. JIT, just-in-time management. I told you in the beginning, Toyota Hilux's start time is 58 minutes. So just-in-time means, in order to meet that start time, all 40,000 suppliers of components in the automobile manufacturing supply chain, they all are working. They all are dancing to this trumpet. Hello? Hello, you asked anything?
Sorry, sir. Okay.
No problem. Are you clear about that? The stock maintenance, all those things, you have collaborative relationships. So then, you know your supply chain, entire supply chain demand versus supply, they automatically communicate. So if the communication information is there, you can strive for the best. So the next one is transformational strategy. Documented supply chain strategy. So if you standardize and document supply chain management related all service level agreements, all service level agreements in between suppliers and inter customers and inter suppliers, you have standardized and documented the methods of handling, methods of doing it. So in 60% increase can be expected. Improvement in supply chain and process integration, process mapping, aligning can be another one. I'll show you an example for that. So you saw here, you can see, you can see the screen of that diagram. We discussed here inbound instruction activities. Okay. Sorry, we described here inbound process. Now, if you draw the character diagram of put away process. Put away process of character diagram. 4 lines of that. Status outcome. Status outcome is going to be input to the voice of customer to the put away process. When you see marshaled items, when you see the reorder level, I mean, when you see the level of replenishment, the marshaled items can be set to the put away, can be put away to the tracks. So this one's outcome can be input to the put away process. Also, map processors, all processors will be the same line. So sometimes if you have a recruitment process, recruitment processes, you have what is called recruitment. If you have process called recruitment processes outcome can be an input to resources length of distance. Sometimes if you have process called quality control process outcome can be input to the controls in this process. So when you draw all those things together, you will draw an interdependent and interactive system like our human body. I told you from the beginning. So doing that also will be added benefit to. Doing that also process integration. That is the process integration. Doing that also has a lot of benefits to supply chain improvement. Driver KPI key performance indicator based objective setting. We discussed that now. Not only that, we discussed key risk performance indicators also. Key risk performance indicators also. And once you set those objectives, once the dashboard is set, you are just doing the same line. You follow the pilot, the cockpit manager, right? Without the pilot, you can take off the aircraft, you can land the aircraft, autopilot, you can do automatic cruise control. The pilot will go to the destination, aircraft will go to the destination automatically without the pilot. The pilot is there to do what? To read the dashboard. The dashboard is going out of control, pilot should immediately take the control in his hand and land, take the permission from the closest air traffic controller. And I think there is a senior airport something in your batch. So he will tell you have to take the closest air traffic control if you're flying from Katunayaka to some other country, maybe Trivandrum. Maybe I think Trivandrum is the closest. We have done system implementation for airlines. Trivandrum is the closest. You have to call the air traffic control and get permission to land. And land the aircraft and return to in aircraft you get ETOPS. That means extended twin engine operations 90. That means 90 knots you can fly with single engine. If one engine strikes with the bird, there's a bird strike to one engine, that engine will be out of function. So immediately, pilot should take the control and you can glide the aircraft with one engine, but with the permission of another closest airport's air traffic control with permission and land the aircraft and repair it and without crashing. So that's why the supply chain management also we need dashboard. So all the dashboard, few dashboard KPIs I showed you. You need to have a clear-cut dashboard. Once you go back to your companies, you can rethink how to program my dashboard and link the sensors to the dashboard with wires. How to put wires? Wires means you set the flow of information to the management decision making. You don't set the flow of decision making. If you take out the aircraft from the picture, if you're driving the motor vehicle without having the link to the dashboard, do you know how many liters we have in fuel tank, the gasoline? How many? What is the speed we are driving? We gonna be penalized by police for driving exceeding the speed limit. If you don't have the dashboard, we need to know my batteries are charging, vehicle batteries are charging, alternatives work. All these things are indicated in the dashboard, right? So if it is we have no dashboard, it's a risk to drive that vehicle. Right? Similar to that, your organization also. Dashboard has to be properly set. So once you go back to your organization, think of process integration and setting KPIs and key resource performance indicators also. Key performance indicators and key resource performance indicators in line to corporate goals. This is specific to supply chain. And information sharing and visibility dashboard. That's what sorry. And demand management. So demand management, I told you, talk time was 58 at Toyota. There was a 58 every 58 seconds. Sorry, every 58 minutes, Toyota had a demand to sell Toyota Hilux double cab. But if you can't supply and make them available in global outlets, very loyal Toyota customer can try the Ford Raptor. He can try a Mitsubishi Samurai. So then what happens? We may lose our customer base. At the same time, I'll tell that to you later. And talent management. There is building competencies, right? You can have skill inventories, you can identify skill inventories of your employees, and talent management is vital, right? That talent management and keeping how to manage talent at the time of recruitment. Before recruitment, you should fix some standards for intake. For the intake at the time of recruitment, you can say you need to have this qualification, this amount of experience. So once you are recruited, time to time there should be employee appraisals to see whether you have the right competence to perform your duty. If you are not with the right competence to perform your duties, there should be continuous training process in order to fulfill competence gaps. So that is called the virtual integration. Sorry, called the talent management. And virtual integration is ERP versus resource planning. So you can put all these things to a system and put sensors everywhere, and whatever before you think, the automatically graphs and performance charts are being made. The top management can easily think of making decisions. And number 10 is value-based management. Value-based management. That is to improve the shareholder value. So that is to improve the shareholder value. Generally, some of the countries, what I have a lot of experience in Japan. When Japanese people do something, they always monitor the value addition. Every service, product, value addition in numerics, they monitor. Okay, that can be a reason for their success. The value-based management. Okay. Then inventory and the material management. Now the supply chain we focus more on material management and material management is the control. Okay, after this, you have any questions? I think I have served several areas. Do you have any questions after this? Are you comfortable or feeling sleepy? Or I feel sleepy a bit because this is not a physical session, so this impression makes me sleep. Okay. So you are okay with the previous learnings, and in terms of material management deals with controlling and regulating flow of material in relation to changes in variables like demand, prices, availability. So same thing. But now we are drilling down to becoming more specific. So how earlier it was earlier the king's time, ancient time, it was a barter system. Bandhuma called the barter system. Then the currency transaction started in the world. Then how to find the material and supply is between the material. So then now we are in a situation because demands are so high. The demographies, according to demographies, Sri Lanka had 2 million population some 1914 or 15. Now we have 22 million. So almost it has become 10 times bigger, more than 10 times. The demands also have increased, but the supplies have been reduced because of the population and all. So these are the key objectives of materials management. The fundamental objective is to minimize the cost of the materials. The second one is to procure and provide materials of desired quality when required at the lowest possible overall cost of production. So this happens. We have some customers who are the largest exporters of cinnamon in the world. Because cinnamon is only in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka's largest export is the world's largest export. Except in this world, you get only cinnamon. Pure cinnamon is only in Sri Lanka. Oh, now, but cinnamon is a seasonal crop. Now we have some sugar manufacturer clients. Again, sugarcane is a crop which is grown for a season. So during and at the same time, whatever these seasonal manufacturers, but they have to keep supplying during the off season also. So then you need to have that is one of the key objectives. You need to stock and you need to monitor the costing from forward data. Encourage damage, all these things to come to. And receiving and controlling material safety. Again, wherever you store materials have to be protected for relevant threats. There can be rats, there can be rodents, others, there can be flooding. So you need to creatively think all the risks and the key objectives of material management and keep it updated. So when you do it, also if you need any help, please when you are really happy to do it, when you are doing it, you can if you want, you can contact us if you are interested. And issue materials upon receipt of appropriate authority. These are the key objectives. These are key functions. Stores and stock control, material planning and programming, procurement and purchasing of materials, receiving and issue of materials, simplification, standardization, and information. Am I audible properly? Am I audible properly?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
My mic was on the tip. Sorry, I think you had poor audibility. Very sorry, I forgot to fix my mic. Thank you. simplification, standardization, coding of materials. So more than having long one ways, I can give you example. When we are manufacturing some of the components which are used for automobile safety, we were instructed to remove all the technical names and give a shortened form name that material. So, in order to protect our intellectual property, as well as the other one is to simplify the operation. Simplify the operation if you have to write several long words in process control sheets everywhere, then it will be a disaster because that means simple code. These are some of the functions of material management. And importance of materials management. An organization covering procurement, you know, give me a second. Okay. An organization covering procurement, storage, and stock replenishment of different types of materials for the production process. Spare part maintenance, stock and stock control. So these are purposes, not the process purposes. And scope of the material management. What are the scopes and boundaries of material management? Planning, production control, purchasing, receiving, inbounds, put away, material handling, stores control. And aisle management is a process control. You know what aisles are? No? Aisles are store aisles. Aisle, AISLE, aisle management. It's a quality control. It's not a quality control, it's a quality assurance activity. Because if you have a very clean, neat aisle, there won't be any mix-ups. Because everyone's mind is clear. There won't be any mix-ups. Then inventory and stock control, outbounds, physical distribution, shipping, all these are material management work. Then the types of materials. Raw materials, purchase parts, maintenance or repair, operating, parts, packaging, services, tools, resellable items, equipment, work in progress. You know what work in progress is? No? Work in progress means semi-value-added goods. Okay. Work in progress means partially value-added goods, semi-value-added goods. Work in progress, the finished goods. Okay. So these are the structures of material functions. Internal environment is internal environment, internal interfaces, inventory control system, production planning, production maintenance, finance, audit, costing, and legal department. You can see internal interface or internal context. External environment, number of agencies for this particular supply, government departments. We discussed those things in that Prestel and CVCP, transport, carriers, including all vendors like insurance, bank, clearing, inspection agencies, and all are external environment or into external environment. Okay. I think we discussed this because have both aspects, internal decides the internal and external decides the performance on quality, reliability, timing of supply after sales. Nearly 50% of production lead time in many industries are spent in handling material. So that's why this area is very critical. 50% of production lead time. Production lead time means if you get an order, you take 50 minutes. In Toyota, this Hilux method, you take 58 minutes to completely assemble the vehicle. But if you're not a well-managed organization, 50% is used, 50% of lead time is used to 50% of lead time is going to be used for handling material. It is not done properly. So wherever, that's why those all material handling methods, conveyors, and all those things people introduce produce the time wastage. And layout decisions, equipped layout decisions are made by work study officer. Layout decisions and layout decisions, the equipments needed, the warehousing requirements are also decided by them, the same team. So they are decided. Mainly this is if you wanna reduce your lead time of order to supply lead time, you have to work on this. Better to have the best layout, do the work study, do a method study and time measurement, and come up with the best lead. Okay. Layout layout decisions, equipment. What are the equipment? What are the equipment? MHC. No? You have decide which MHC you need. Material handling equipment, the forklifters or stackers. The forklifters, stackers, or gantries, or chain blocks, what are the equipment, what are the warehousing requirements, whether it is a mezzanine warehouse or a racking warehouse with racking, all those things. If you handle it properly, if you introduce the right facility, you can cut down 50% of production lead time. Factors providing economy in materials management. One is volume of purchase. If you purchase higher volume, sorry, if you purchase higher volumes, if you purchase goods in higher volumes, one is you will have issues in these areas. One will be the stock holding cost will be high. You will lose your lean status. You will have non-moving stock, one of the main sins according to lean thinking. But there are some situations, especially on seasonal goods like cinnamon and all. Sometimes high volume purchases are profitable for them, because after the season there will be a period of scarcity, so they sell it in a very high price. So depending on the industry, you need to monitor which one is important. If you can keep your factory closer to source of material, that's why Holcim came to Sri Lanka, because Sri Lanka has limestone. Limestone is an ingredient to manufacture cement. Okay. Why the tire factories are built closer to Kalutara district? Because rubber plantation is more in Kalutara district. So that can be, that's an advantage. So you can use the nearness to the source of materials also an advantage. And design and engineering, you can design the product for using minimal amount of resources. So, and even inspection also. If we are not sure of the products, we have to inspect thoroughly. If you reduce inspection if you reduce inspection and give that decision, if you reduce your inspection, now I'll tell you an example. In apparel factories, they always find difficult. The fabric dyeing is a very difficult process. I have been in Bangladeshi fabric mills. Dyeing process is so difficult. To dye a roll of fabric, one side of the roller has a one color, the ending side of the roller has a different color. So when you're going for line time productions, you cut all fabric together. No? So you cut 100 colors together. So 100 front part of the shirts together, 100 tops together, 100 backs together. So then you have order for you have order for let's say 50 shirts. Now you cut all that. You have order for 50 shirts. So then you take one color from one part of the fabric roll. Just when you cut the fabric, some components are cut with the end part of the fabric roll. The other components are made with the first initial part of the fabric. So then there will be two colors, and your shirt will be multicolors, because there's a color shading in between. So then what we gonna do is what we gonna do here is inspection process has to be centered. But only thing, if you have several inspectors in our factory in Sri Lanka, it's a cost for us. So most of our apparel manufacturers, what they do is they hire senior, experienced and educated fabric technologists, maybe from Murto University, other recognized universities, and send that person to the mill. Send that person to the mill. People of supplier should look after that person. His role is to see whether any inferior quality items are sent to our country. So not our country, to our orders. So he's stationed here there in Pakistan or Bangladesh or countries to manufacture fabric. And he stays there and he keeps monitoring whether it's meeting our requirements. And if something wrong, you don't need to send it to Sri Lanka and waste our employees' time. They can correct it and send from there itself. So that is called the inspection part, and make or buy decisions also made according to company's financial budget. And disposal of scrap also depends on the industry, especially construction and this especially whatever the business is concerned, make or buy decision means we cannot make it economically, or our equipment are not properly managed. So then we can think of outsourcing one component, outsourcing few components like us. And disposal of scrap also, you can dispose you have to dispose anyway. You have disposed scrap according to country's legislation, given in the environmental protection license. But if there's a method of recycling them, will increase the economy of materials management. Okay. So in the material management, you can even, as further turtle diagram, you can keep monitoring whether if you keep this material for this number of months, whether it is going to be profitable or non-profitable. You can keep, if this particular risk is created, how to tackle that. So likewise, you need to identify the demands of the competitors. So material handling, I think material handling we discussed. And when you handle, always you have to use the symbols which are printed on the corrugated boxes. If you say this is a direction that has to be kept, there are little items inside them, or that's why the glass mark is there. Sometimes umbrella mark, you cannot allow this to be wet. So likewise, you will get, you will have all, you have that control that will bring in a lot of culture, lot of it can be cultural issues. Sometimes people in a foreign country, they use all the equipment, all the personal protective equipment as well as product protection equipment and material. So our country, sometimes there can be an issue. The goals of material handling, the primary goal is to reduce unit cost of production. So without that, you nothing to do. So primary goal is to reduce unit cost of production. One cost of manufacturing one unit has to be reduced, and maintain and improve product quality, promote safety, and improve working conditions. Because I'll tell you something now. In some organizations, time and pressure. Those organizations, they use carbon black. It's a carbon black. So then, when you dispense carbon black from the main source to subsource, when you dispense carbon black to transfer to other stores, when you what do you call the when you what is the technical term there? I took the example of the tire factory. When you send the carbon black disperse and send the carbon black to the production department, that becomes airborne and goes everywhere, and that creates poor working conditions for the employees. That creates poor working conditions. The airborne dust, airborne substances. There's a standard in Sri Lanka Factories Ordinance. That Factories Ordinance requirements will not be able to be met. That's a legal requirement. And promote productivity to the material handling. We heard material handling must be standardized, promote the productivity. So productivity can be improved mostly in this. Give me a second. Overview of material handling equipment. We call it in shortened form. We call it MHC. MHC. MHC are the forklifters, rubbers, packers, all are MHC. So for material handling equipment. transport equipment, industrial trucks, automated guided vehicles, monorails, conveyors, cranes. The storage systems, bulk storage, rack storage, shelving of funds, sometimes mezzanine flow, sometimes you get gravity control, like if you keep in if you put if you insert goods from one end, when you take the you issue goods from the other end. So once you take the goods in the edge of the other end, due to gravity, items are coming to the next. So always you can maintain first in, first out. So unitizing equipment, pallets. So there can be items. There can be items like bulbs, torches, and all. So maintaining that is difficult. So because of that, you put all the bulbs in one pallet. So you go as pallet number 1, pallet number 2, likewise. Identification tracking system. Identification and tracking systems can be some of the advanced systems I have seen. You can paste RFID sticker on the material. When you take the material inside, pass in the antenna. Antenna is like this is in apparel stores. You get, if you by mistake, if you take any item without removing that small part RFID device from apparel in fashion apparel clothing shops, there's an antenna in the door. Once you pass it, that immediately start giving a noise. No? So then you become a thief. So if you take any item out without removing the tag. Similarly, in a factory, similarly in a warehouse, you can put a RFID tag to one pallet. So you take the pallet in, the system will automatically detect one item has gone to the system. Gone to put away. So that item, once you put that item there, even in the rack, there is sometimes you can use RFID. That is RFID. If you take the goods out again through the RFID system, your database will drop one items out. And if you go for barcoding, once you get the items at the time of inbounds, you generate with the GRN barcode sticker or a QR code is generated. So that is pasted on the pallet or the item. So then it goes to the right location. The people who do the put away, they have a handheld computer with a barcode scanning device, that barcode scanning sensor. Then what they go to, once they go to the site, once they find out a empty space in the warehouse, you put the items, you do the put away to that particular item. Then what you do is you scan the location barcode also. Then it is registered to that location. And you put the count, you manually enter the count. So whatever the items which are stored there, the rack and the bin number is also scanned with the bin number. Bin number can be converted to a QR code and paste there. So that QR, as soon as you scan it, it is taken to the system. QR code or barcode or whatever. Barcode is much more efficient for that. So that is how manually and semi-automated method of handling it. Fully automated can be RFID. at the same time manually also. So all these things can be done. Right. So once you do it, you can easily track the items. When you are, if you are not in Sri Lanka, you can, if you are not in the area or the country, you can track all the items. How many items are in my warehouse? You can replenishment can track everywhere. Then principles of material handling, the planning principle is planning quantities, methods, deliverable. So now every company, every properly done organization, they have a meeting or they have a kind of a regular event called material requirement planning. So at least monthly they do material requirement planning. This is going to be dependent on the lead time. So if our MRP has to be done in a very short, if the lead time is high or lead times are not stabilized with the suppliers, if you don't have a very stabilized set of suppliers, so then monitoring the regular monitoring the material requirement planning is very important. Otherwise, we need to keep available materials for next week to run the organization. So then that is the requirement planning. Then the systems principles, as you learn, you have to do the process mapping and information flow. You have to draw the information flow and physical goods flow, and then you can identify any non-value-added activities. You can take off the text because if you have several red tapes, because of several unnecessary inspections, sometimes you will not be able to handle things quality, and at the same time you cannot keep quality people. So then simplification principles, I discussed it. Removing non-value-added activities. I'll tell you an example. In a house, there was an incident. A fisherman came and mother. There are three people. There are four characters in the story. One is fisherman, and we have grandmother, we have mother, and the daughter. There was one day fisherman came, and mother wanted the tuna fish, and mother said, when you're giving the tuna, cut the tail and give me. So then the small child had a question. Mama, she asked the question, Mama, why you asked the fisherman to give the fish without the tail? Then Mama said, sorry, baby, my mother also did the same thing. She taught me to cook after cutting the tail. Don't cook without the tail. My mother has also taught me the same. So the baby had the privilege to go to grandma. So grandma is among the living beings still. So she met grandma and asked grandma why you have instructed my mother to cook without the tail. So grandma said, no, I'm also not aware. My mother also taught me in the same way. So similarly, in organization, there can be situations. There are a lot of non-value added activities. If the organizations are old, more the organizations are old, more non-value activity, non-value added NVAs. NVA stands for non-value added activities. Sorry, NVA. NVA stands for non-value added activities. More bigger the organization, more bigger the non-value added activity. So business BPR stands for business process re-engineering. BPR. Let's see this point. BPR stands for business process re-engineering. Process re-engineering means you write all the activities in your business process and identify the non-value added activities and remove them. Shamikara, you have any questions? Shamikara. Mr. Shamikara? I think by mistake,
විතර මේක වෙනස් කරු සබ්ජෙක්ට් නැත්ද
Mr. Shamikara, hope you can. I have muted. I think by mistake you are on the mic, right? Okay. Oh, sorry. Then gravity principle we discussed earlier. Whenever practice is gravity, if you have not seen gravity operated, give me a second, I'll show you an example. Can you see my screen? These are some of the racks called gravity operated racks. Gravity flow rack. So you can see here tiny. You can see here tiny wheels. There are very tiny wheels here. These you keep the goods on this wheel. All these tracks are the same. These are the gravity control racks. You can see small. Can you see the small, very small wheels? Okay. So as a result, the goods are being fed from this end, from the top end. Always you take the goods out from the front end. So then always you can maintain a first in first out. Once you take the goods out, the consequent layer will come to the surface. So like this. This is called the gravity control. That's what I told you earlier. I want to show you some. In unit load principle and so in order to utilize more space, you can use racks to utilize the airspace. To store goods on the floor only, very few layers you can go. No? If you have very high stack, the items on the bottom can be damaged if you exceed the standard stack height, which is declared in the corrugated boxes. So then your products can be damaged. No? So because of that, one is that, and mezzanines you can use with racks. You can use airspace. Mezzanines also you can use airspace. Airspace can be airspace can be used by mezzanine floors. Mezzanine floors, they're making another half of the wall to make another roof and store goods also in that house. And overhead conveyors, gantries, gantry cranes, that also reduces unnecessary space utilization. And okay, unit load principle. Have you seen honeycombs? Honeycombs are like this. Bee honey. Bees make honeycomb. Honeycombs in a bee honey. So similarly, stores honeycomb. That's a theory with the stores honeycomb. This stores you have aisles, right? Give me a second. I'll show you. Can you see my screen? Can you see my screen? So stores, these are called stores. This is aisle. AISLE is the one aisle. You have, when you go to MHE, you have material handling equipment stackers, normal aisle and narrow aisle also. Narrow aisle means even stacker can be from the middle of the stacker can be folded. Narrow aisle stackers. So coming back now, what I want to show is in a stores you have inside the aisle these are bins, right? These are called bins. I'll show you here. So this part is called what? Honeycomb. Generally, we call honeycomb honey. Honeybee brings honey to the honeycomb. So in logistic management, these are called honeycombs. These are called bins or honeycombs. Now the person who is handling this, who is the aisle manager, the person who is the aisle owner of this aisle, has a lot of empty spaces. That means either problem in the organization. Otherwise, this airspace is wasted. If you are a good bee honey, all honeycombs should be filled. Sorry, if you have a good bee, this honeycombs has to be filled with honey. Got that point? So, in technical terms, you call it you call it space utilization at stores. Space utilization at stores is the if space utilization of stores is 100%, that B is a wise B. That particular aisle owner is a wise B. Automation of people. I told you this RFI scanner, RFI scanners, barcodes. So you want to see this. You want to see this handling equipment, barcode handling equipment. Give me a second. See my screen? No. So this is how you do in the, these are called handheld computers in one network. You keep scanning stores, take the, all these are handheld computers. This is using this efficiently, you can mark the location of the stores when you put away. And when you're going to issue, the advantage is when you generate the pick list, exact location is explained. Exact location is recorded. So when you want to see this particular, if you have about 400 of materials types, this exact material type, once you type, you can see in the system, in the electronic inventory management system, you can see where the location is stored, where the item is stored. The same thing can be done manually also. Same thing can be done manually also. So this is the last one. Same thing can be done manually also. Okay, in a stores, you can number. If you don't have that such technology, you can. This is a one aisle. So one aisle. Okay, this is one store aisle. Sorry, this is one aisle. Okay. There are several ways of doing this. You have your X like this. No? Your X like this. You have two sides. This track is divided into two. You can say this tower is this is called apartment scheme track numbering. Okay, and here you can say this one is you can say now this particular rack, this is the rack. Let's say this rack Z. Here you can say West Tower. Now you imagine if it is a apartment scheme, you have towers, condominium apartment scheme. This East Tower. You get West Tower, you get East Tower. This is ground floor. First floor. Second floor. Third floor. Okay. So if you want to see the address of this particular, bin or honeycomb, what happens? This is how we write it. This is the rack number. This is rack Z slash. You have E for East Tower, W for West Tower. We are in the second floor, floor number 2. Which apartment? 1, 2, 3. And 4. Okay. So rack number is a East Tower, second floor, fourth house. Fourth house. So this is how you write the code of this particular location. So this is in a warehouse. This is in a warehouse. At the same time, if you do this in a building like this, you have roof building, you have building trusses like this, roof trusses. You have warehouse building like that. So you have beams also like that. Inside the roof, in the roof, you have beams like this. So when you're giving number into warehouse flow, we can rename roof trusses. A is B, this is C. Likewise, you go up to Z. The beams you can say beam number 1, beam number 2, beam number 3, beam number so, and this is 4, and this is 5. Sorry, this is 5. This is 6. If you give a location in the ground, let's say you have to give a location in the ground. You have to look at the roof. If it is the location here, you can say location B3. That means which is directly under the trusses number code B and the beam number 3. So this is the location. So likewise, when you store goods, you can put in Excel sheet. You can put in Excel sheet. The location you can put in this way. So one day when you are going to issue the goods also, you know, in Excel you can sort A to Z according to the material type. So because of alphabetical order, you can understand where is the material name. So go to material name, then the quantity and the location is automatically appeared in the Excel sheet. You can use that method also. So these are some of the techniques I explained. I think I explained several aspects of supply chain and inventory management. We have exceeded the time. If you have any question, you can ask. But otherwise, we can wind up. If you have any doubts, you can call me. My number is not 777 444 026. I'm Anishka Pereira. If you have no doubts, if you have no questions, we can wind up right now. Okay then. Have a blessed weekend to you all. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.